We have big news. We have exciting news for you. Tell them what it is, Serena.
We are super excited to announce that we are starting our first membership this January 2024.
Yay! Membership.
So we're excited to let you know that we will be hosting a monthly membership where when you join, you will be
with us live in a Zoom room once a month for a workshop like we just hosted. It's going to be a workshop like that, one topic each month, a different topic. You might even help us come up with the following month's topic from inside our membership. Super excited to meet you. It was so fun meeting a few of you in our inaugural workshop. So we're really looking forward to that.
And when you are a member, you will also be receiving a monthly newsletter where I'm going to be a little more intimate and I'll be sharing the things that are working and the things that aren't working for me.
Yeah, like taking a tool that you've learned from the podcast and how you're implementing it and how well that worked, or maybe if it didn't work. And then Amma can put in my 2 bits worth. We'll see how that goes. But a membership newsletter and a membership live Zoom room workshop starting in January 2024. Can sign up through our Patreon link in the show notes, yeah?
Yes, everything will be in the show notes, and we can't wait to see you there, listeners.
We can't wait. Yay!
Hey, mamas, welcome back to the Nurturing Parent Podcast. Thanks for joining us today. And for episode number 90, we are talking boredom. But don't be worried, it's not going to be a boring conversation. It is honestly quite a fun and relieving conversation because if you're hearing your kids constantly saying that they're bored, we hope after this conversation that will bring a smile to your face instead of these feelings of exhaustion and frustration, because boredom truly is a gift.
Hey, Mama, welcome to the Nurturing Parent Podcast. Do you want to end the constant battles for bath time? Do you find yourself emotionally exhausted at the end of the day? Do you wake up with big hopes for a smooth day of fun with your little ones, only to face an early morning meltdown because you peeled their banana the wrong way?
Silly you.
Silly you.
Hey, I'm Serena. I'm a mama of 2 little ones, and as a new mama, I constantly questioned myself. I wanted to make sure I was raising respectful kids while also building a strong bond with them. But I discovered that I had to unlearn my ideas that punishment was the way. With Amalisa's encouragement, I've been practicing a respectful and gentle parenting approach, which is strengthening our bond as a family.
And hi, I'm Amalisa. Amma means grandmother in Icelandic. I am a mama and an amma. And I have over 40 years of experience in childcare and parent coaching. And I am so excited to share the knowledge I've gained over these years with you.
Together in this podcast, each week we will explore some easy to implement skills you can add to your parenting tool belt to help you create a happy, thriving family. I am really exhausted from this summer so far. The weekends are more exhausting than the work week. I feel like we just can never catch a break. And sometimes we're filling up our weekends because we want to entertain our kids. And our kids probably just want to be home some days and just relax. So I'm excited to bring this topic to conversation with Emma because we need to learn more about it. And it's being bored and why we need to let our kids be bored. We've spoken about it in other episodes about slowing it down, getting outside, but today we want to get into the benefits of actually letting our kids be bored because they're probably saying that to you all the time. Mom, I'm bored. Mom, I'm bored. And then you feel like you need to take them somewhere or go buy them things. And we're here to let you know that you don't have to.
Yes. Yes. Such a good topic, especially I think for the middle of summer.
Yeah.
Where we're trying to fit it all in our summertime, whether you mama or dad are on holidays or you're working full time, but it's still summertime. We're trying to fit it all in. So let's just take a deep breath. We as a society are afraid of boredom. We as parents are afraid to let our children be bored. One of the reasons is because when our children get bored, they do that. Mommy, I'm bored. I'm bored. I don't have anything to do. I'm bored. And there's a lot of whining behavior and a lot of nagging at you behavior. And so we avoid boredom as much as possible. We fill up their time, right? Just like you're
Yes,
saying.
true.
Whew. The paradox about letting boredom happen is that it's challenging to let it happen because those behaviors happen first before the benefits of the boredom can happen. So we're going to talk a little bit about why boredom is so difficult. Then we're going to look at the advantages to letting our children be bored, and there are lots of them. And then we'll just give you a few little ideas of how to incorporate boredom intentionally into your lives. I want to say being bored is not a waste of time. It is an incredibly beneficial use of time. It's imperative for human development, and we'll get more into that in a few minutes. But let's look at current day society, current day life is really the antithesis of boredom. It's fast, it's on demand. We carry computers in our pockets, for goodness sakes. We can look up anything at any moment. Our children, some of our children, have our pocket computers, our phones, or their own devices on demand. And it's really hard to keep saying no when I just want to watch a show. I'm bored. I just want to play a game. I'm bored. Right. And here's the thing, those devices are really, really causing, they're causing problems in two ways. They're causing more quick to boredom experiences for our children because
Mm-hmm.
they're not used to being bored. They're used to on demand living. When I was a little girl, you guys, and I'm not 100, but when I was a little girl, we got cartoons on Saturday mornings, period. Saturday mornings, we got to watch cartoons. And I think it was planned that way so mom and dad could have a little bit of a lie in on Saturday mornings, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had to wait a week to watch cartoons again. If we were a little bit older and we were watching a show, we got one show a week, and then we'd have to wait a week to watch a show. So boredom was kind of built into our lifestyle. Waiting for things that we enjoyed was built into our lifestyle. Our children nowadays are living in the fast food, the microwaves, the computers in our pockets, the on demand living, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as we've talked about before, that can lead to entitlement.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it sounds like you must have really enjoyed those shows that one time that you got to see it a week.
You would plan your whole week around it, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you really like that show, you'd be like, okay, I have to be home at 4 o'clock on Thursday because I watch my show. Or when I was really little, the shows didn't even come on until after dinner. So at 7 o'clock, and like the Christmas specials, they would come on once a week before Christmas. So, the whole family would plan around that, right? So I'm just saying, like, it's going to be more challenging for you, Mama, because your children are growing up in the on demand society that we live in, especially in the Western world, especially in North America, in, Britain, Europe, probably Australia. I don't know all the different countries, but certainly in most of the Western developed world, this is the reality. Um, I did a little bit of research into this, as I always do. And one thing I found was that for older children, they're getting homework, so much more homework. This study was from 1981 to 1997. So that's a long time ago now. But in those 16 years, the children had 12 hours less free time a week. And now it's
Wow.
going to be way more than that. So, one of the problems is that there isn't free time. Our children's lives are scheduled to the nth degree, right? With two working parents in the family, there's more scheduling. We've got to get them up, we've got to get them fed and dressed and out the door to daycare, to childcare with the grandparents, wherever we're all going out to our jobs, all that stuff. So there's less free time. And it's in the space of free time that boredom happens and flourishes. So let's look at a bit of what I mean by flourishing with boredom. Boredom is crucial for brain health and development. I want you to know that straight up. When we experience excitement, so we're going off to do something, or we're running down to the park, or we're watching a show, and there's an excitement in our bodies, the brain releases dopamine. Dopamine is one of the feel good hormones. It's related to rewards and just, that basic feeling good sensation. When we get bored, it's uncomfortable. That's why you're going to get the whining behaviors. That's why you're going to get the nagging at you behaviors, because it's uncomfortable to be bored. We're addicted to the dopamine. We want that hit of feeling good, right? We need to retrain the brain to enjoy less exciting times. It's going to take some time, but you'll see when I go through all the advantages, you'll see how important it is. So let's look. The prime advantage to boredom is that that's when our brains can escape from the day-to-day stressors. And, these days, there are so many. It's when our brains are given space to daydream. We call it wool gathering. A child who just stares off into space or looks out the window. I don't know if you were a child like that in school, where you would just like kind of zone out on what was going on at the front of the room and just stare at the leaves fluttering in the,
Oh yeah.
outside the window of your classroom, right? That's so important. The mind is allowed to wander. And I want to tell you that many, if not all, of the greatest inventions in human history came from minds that had the time to wander, that had the time to go wool gathering, as we call it, right? Um, Boredom offers us opportunities to build tolerance. So there's a tolerance that builds up in our ability to feel that discomfort for a little while. Ugh, it doesn't feel comfortable. But in that discomfort, it helps us to develop valuable skills. It stimulates creativity and imagination, and even the brain function itself. It stimulates brain function. The thing is, when you stop trying to solve a problem or figure something out or get told what to do and when to do it, and all those directives that we're constantly giving our children, when we stop getting that input, for ourselves, think about when you're upset about something and you're trying to figure out what's the best thing to do, and you go have a shower, and it's like ping, you get that idea,
Mm-hmm.
right? Go, oh, well, that's what I should be doing. That's because the brain had the space and the time and the quiet to just allow the creative thoughts to come in. When we
Mm.
stop trying is when we get the best, right? When the brain is resting. So boredom encourages problem solving and planning strategies. If a child is bored and you're not giving them a screen because they're bugging you and bugging you and bugging you to give them a screen or give them time on their screen, whatever, and you're resisting that and you're sticking to your boundary about that, it's their brain has to do some problem solving. They have to have some planning strategies. Oh, okay, what am I going to do? This is stupid. This is stupid. What am I going to do? One of the things we can do if a child is really struggling, I want you to give them a few minutes and I want you to tune out as much as you can. I want you to busy yourself so that you're not worried about your child's boredom. I'm just going to be over here folding the laundry, honey. I trust that you've got this. You have an incredible brain that can think up cool things. I know you've got this. And I'll be excited to hear what it is you come up with. If they're really struggling after those few minutes, like fold the laundry and focus on folding the laundry or do the dishes or cut the veggies for supper or whatever it is, right? Pack the bag that you're packing to go where you're going next, whatever it is, but focus on what you're doing so that you're not focusing on their distress. Their
Yes.
distress will pass.
That's the
We
hardest part. It's
Yes. Yes. We need to give them time. And I encourage you in the beginning of allowing boredom into your lives to do very small doses of it at first. Just a little tiny bit to have some success. You can offer them some prompts. It sounds like you're having a really hard time feeling bored right now. One thing that can help is thinking to yourself, what makes my body feel good? Because one of the things that is great for boredom is movement. When we exercise, when we move our bodies, we get a dopamine hit. That's what the body's craving right now. So they want to find ways to get that dopamine hit in their system. Also, another question could be, one thing that might help is thinking about, what's a favorite memory that you have? And is there anything around that memory that might inspire you right now? And even if they're 2 years old, remember, you can give them questions that helps their brain to think. Their brain is going to be going into problem solving and planning strategies when they're bored. It gives the brain a chance to decompress and to recharge. It's vital for brain development. If you want clever children that do well throughout their schooling years and into their adult lives, let them be bored. Honestly, it's one of the best things for brain development. I can't say that enough. um, so the brain gets to rest and reflect. Because of that reflection, it can actually develop a child's sense of altruism. What happened earlier today when I shoved my little sister out of the way? There's a little reflection time. Maybe when I want that toy next time, maybe I should talk to her, or maybe I'll talk to mama if she's not giving it to me. Like there is reflection time. And of course, very little child isn't going to have all those conscious thoughts, but the reflection will be there. That opportunity to reflect comes from a resting mind. It'll help a child develop discernment. Like, what kinds of things do I like? What kinds of things don't I like? You know, if a child likes to be creative with paints or scissors and paper and glue, maybe they'll go in that direction. Maybe your 2 year old will come up to you, or your 3 year old will come up to you and say, I want to paint. Then, if their painting things aren't out, if they're out, you can say, yeah, go for it. Show me what you've got when you're done. If they're not out, you can say, here's your things, let's get them together, and there you go. So it helps with self-discernment. It also, this will be probably a happy moment for you mamas, fosters independent thinking and independent play. One of the things we want so much for our children is to relish the independent playtime. It helps us, gives us a bit of a break,
Oh, yeah.
and it's imperative for young childhood development. Boredom also encourages self-reflection. I just touched on there with thinking about things, and self-awareness, that kind of thing. And it can improve social connections if there are other children in the house, siblings or cousins, or a play date happening, and they're telling you they're bored and they want to watch a show. Allowing for the boredom to be there, not giving into the screen time, it can really develop those social interactions. It enhances pro-social behavior. They have to work together now to figure out what they're going to do if they have a friend over or a sibling around. One of my favorite things is that boredom invites wonder, curiosity, and deepening of interests. So, what a child is naturally inclined towards, those will become deeper.
I really like that because one thing that I always worry about is like I see these 4-year-old skateboarders who they look like they're just born to skate, or you see a 5 or 6-year-old chef that they look like they were just born to be in the kitchen. And I always just worry that I'm preventing or not allowing my daughter to find what she loves because
Mm,
I don't know if I to throw her into all the things for her to find out is kind of difficult. And so just allowing her to be bored and see where her mind takes her and
yes.
where she goes with it, and not so much me being in charge of leading it, but her just discovering it takes a lot of relief
Yes.
off. You just have to let them be
Totally.
bored.
And that is a perfect segue into what we can do as parents to
Nice.
allow for boredom. Doing less. Serena, you have some other episodes that you were going to mention. So there's a couple there in the do less
Yes, and
category.
they'll all be in the show notes, but we've done episodes like Tired of Entertaining Your Kids, Get Outside. That's episode 70, or episode 79, Kids Constantly Nagging You, How to Foster Creative Play, and just
Mm-hmm.
benefits of slowing it down. That's episode 83, and they're in the show notes, but
Mm-hmm.
we would talk about this
Yeah.
all the time.
Yes. Yes. Our children are overstimulated and overscheduled. It's a chronic problem, quite honestly, in our current society. So it's that whole idea of slow living. So doing less, more free play opportunities. I want to do a whole episode on the benefits of free play soon because it's massively important. Encouraging your children to doodle if they like drawing. No coloring books, nothing to do. The thing is, we want to get away from having an agenda for our children. Open it up. Give them some crayons and blank pieces of paper, doodling. If you don't have one in your backyard, a swing or a hammock are great places for boredom. That movement of our body is really, really good. It helps with the regulation system.
Mm.
There's interesting ways to increase dopamine production in our bodies. So, one of the simple things is to avoid, if your children are having a hard time being bored and jumping past the boredom, and it'll take a few minutes, especially the first few times you try this, but you want to give them those few minutes to move past the boredom and figure something out for themselves, not by your direction. But some of the things you might want to look at to set them up for success is avoiding sugar and junk food. Those things cause excessive dopamine and it makes our bodies want more of those things because we get that hit of feeling good, but it's false dopamine hit, right? You want to enrich some of the foods that they're eating. Protein is really good, eggs, chicken, or fish. And then a whole bunch of vegetables and fruits are good for supporting dopamine production. Apples, bananas, oranges, watermelon, strawberry, green leafy vegetables, peas, tomatoes. Like, it's amazing what we can do just by, if you can feel the boredom coming on, maybe you want to make a fruit tray and just put it down where they are and let them snack on those or on some veggies. We want to turn down the overstimulation of our lives so we can listen to and hear again our internal voices. Make sure your children are getting plenty of sleep, enough outdoor time, that they're getting enough sun exposure, because that vitamin D is imperative for us. The exercise I mentioned already, playing with a pet, or hanging out with people that they love. These are all dopamine builders. Reading something they enjoy, listening to music you enjoy. And I'm going to leave you with this one because this is my favorite: time in nature. In nature, there's a lot going on that we don't need to manage or be concerned about. There's just so much happening all the time. There's wind in the trees, there's flowers blooming, there's bugs crawling. Time in nature is a beautiful dopamine builder. So those things can help when you are allowing times for boredom to happen.
Those are some great tips. I love the nature one because you can't be bored in nature. It's like a little trick because you just have to get out into it and then you can't even be bored because there's just so much around. And like Heather said in our episode with her, you really experience awe in nature.
Yes. And like Heather also said about her mom sitting in the backyard doing her nails,
Yes.
mom was busy and the kids just had to go entertain themselves. So if you have a backyard, mama, I encourage you, get out there, take a book to read. That Heather also talked about that. Take a book to read or do your nails or have something that busies yourself, not your device. You're not going to be on your device, but something else that busies you, and let them be bored in the backyard. That's the perfect place.
Yes.
And
Yes.
if you don't have a backyard, go to your neighborhood park. But yeah, let them be bored. I hope that helps and encourages you, knowing all the benefits of boredom, the crucial brain health development right there. That's all you really need to know. But yeah, we love you and we hope that this helps, and we'd love to hear from you. Let us know what helped.
I really enjoyed Amma's story about how when she was younger and she would get so excited to get to watch her one show a week and how she'd plan and get home just in time so she can watch her show. And it brought me back to my childhood and reminded me how exciting the little things were. Especially getting to watch TV, because it wasn't how it is now, where we have screens in front of our face basically all day. So, our kids are really overstimulated now. And we know that you don't want to contribute to that, since you are a nurturing mom, and that's why you are here with us. So, thank you so much for joining us in today's conversation. I'm so lucky that I have you and Amma to have these conversations with, because I feel like we are kind of going against the grain in telling you like, let your kids be bored. You can just go on Instagram and it feels like families are always out doing things and looking cute and taking perfect pictures and having perfect meals. And if you follow me, you know that that is not my life. I barely go on social media, trying to avoid the screen as much as I can always, and setting that example for my kids. So sorry to get into a rant, but I am just so grateful that we get to have these conversations and learn about how great it is to let our kids be bored. So, to get into my gems, I wanted to just mention my favorite advantages of boredom, and that is that our kids' brain gets to escape from their daily stressors. And we might not remember, but it can be pretty stressful being a kid. It fosters independent thinking and independent play. It builds tolerance of discomfort. I love this one because you have to get out of that comfort zone to grow, and I want my kids to grow as much as possible. So them building a tolerance for that is amazing. And this is my other favorite. It gives them a time for reflection and increases altruism. I love that. Some reminders is that to help with boredom, it's really great to get some movement in, swings, hammocks, or dancing, just moving your body. And then number 3 is really holistically looking at it, and to be able to be bored and achieve boredom successfully, we should make sure that our kids are not consuming sugar, that they are getting lots of protein, veggies, fruits, and sleep. All right, mamas, thank you so much. We truly, truly, truly appreciate having you here with us and joining us for these important conversations. And we hope to see you next week. We're talking dirty, but not that way. We're talking about the benefits of getting dirty and the benefits of us not freaking out when our kids are getting dirty. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.